Good morning, everybody. This is Richard back at you. We got Chase's 79 GMC in the house, a little red one on previous videos you've seen, that we're putting a 4L60 overdrive tranny and taking the 400 out. Now, we did check the gear ratio on the back. It's got a 373 gear, which is pretty good. I thought it was going to be something crazy like a 200 or something, you know. But got a little bit of play in the gears. You know, we might talk to him about doing a policy and stuff like that, since he does have a little bit more high performance motor. We're putting a little converter in the tranny. One thing good about a 4L60 tranny is they have really low first gears, so they're really good red light to red light. So, but anyway, we're going to get this 400 out real quick. I tried different lighting. It just don't work. It flickers. If I wear a helmet or a light around my head and stuff, it just don't work good in the camera. I mean, you get all this type flashing stuff. If I even glance back at the camera, then we got a major problem. I mean, you can kind of see it flickering on my flashlight there. You can imagine a big old LED on my head here. But all of them do it. I've got the best over there charging. They all do it, so it really don't work good with cameras. But anyway, we're going to get the cross member out first. These are kind of a train wreck. You got brackets up here. You got to get those bolts loose. You got to take these three out. These here, these here, and there's some top ones up here. And you got a bracket here too. So we're going to get this apart really quick. You might see my back a few times, but I apologize for that. Little 1/2-inch bolt there that holds the heat shield on, probably where the catalytic converter and stuff was, right up here. You can see there, this metal plate, there used to be a cat in here. So they got different exhausts and stuff. So I'm probably going to be picking up the camera a lot, trying to straighten it, just to give you guys a good view, but we're going to get this apart. I'm going to try to use all electric, but sometimes you just got to go to the big boys. I like air out here, R&R really more than anything. We do have to build some stuff here. Get my tools out. Always set my bolts and stuff on the lift. That way I don't have to look for them. I don't ever put nothing on the floor. Anytime you bend over and have to pick something up off the floor, it's really hard on you. I'm going to use that barrel there to hold my tools too a little bit. These bolts all got washers on them, one on the top and the bottom. A lot of them, you're going to have to get this is loose too. Sometimes we always have to put a Phillips in here and kind of pry the frame apart to get these bolts out. Jack here. Use a block, kind of put it on the pan towards the front, not in the middle. You don't want to bend your pan up. This tranny is dirty, dirty. So this was a 2-bolt mount, I believe. It's got another hole here, so we'll get the mount out to you if we just have a bolt missing, and we have to find another one to put in there. Now we're going to flip this over. We're going to use a 5/8 and 11/16 this time. Wobble over, excuse me, I'm going backwards on it. So socket. Really no dirt on this truck underneath. Normally when you hit them with an impact, stuff falls off. You gotta remember too, this truck's been sitting like for 8 years, so that's quite a while. You can see this bolt here is snug. See, it ain't gonna cut. You can put a Phillips in here, kind of move it around and take it out like that. Makes it a lot easier. Gravity's terrible. You're gonna have 3 9/16 bolts in this. One here, one is dead in the center. A lot of times you can't get these bolts out either. You got to use a Phillips screwdriver. Stick them in this center hole right here and move it around. And then we have our last one up here that I leave in there. And then we'll just pull this out. Makes it real nice. Kind of like putting the barrel right here with the camera on it. We do have a new mount. It does take 2 bolts. So we'll have to find another bolt for the mount to go back on the 4L60. And 5/8, that's odd. What did I grab? Oh, I slid my socket tray there. This truck's going to be really nice with 373 gears. See here. The mount does look new. So. This does have a 2-piece speedometer cable on it. This truck actually has cruise. He has it unhooked right here. You've got a little shorty and another one that goes up to the cruise control box. These were really bad about the box locking down or the cables locking down and just destroying everything, stripping the speedometer gear inside the transmission. So they do make a 1-piece cable that'll retrofit, that'll go from here through the firewall all the way up to the back of the dash, so you can get rid of the cruise control. Because the cruise control unit on this thing's probably $300 or $400, that little box up there now, if you can even get them. But they do a lot of damage. That little 2-piece. The other one's up here. Now, I don't know if you can see this. I'll kind of show you. We're going to be taking our cooler lines off, and then we're going to be taking our vacuum line loose, dipstick bolts, stuff like that. Bell has the bolts to start pulling this down, dropping it down out of there. So, kind of set you back there just a little bit. So we're going to do that next. This hose is as hard as a rock. They do have a little clip right here too that keeps the vacuum line clipped to the dipstick tube. If I push it off, I'll show you. There it goes. A little bracket right there. That holds the metal line to the tube. Got that off there. Let me see if I can get up there and get the cooler lines loose. I might drop it down just a little bit if it'll come. I'm not going to unbolt the headers on it, that way the headers hold it up. Won't let it tilt back as far. I thought he said he had this tranny out. Maybe he didn't have the tranny out. He just had the motor out and left the torque converter out, because there's no torque converter in this thing. Cooler lines are coming loose pretty good. I wear glasses and contacts, so contacts don't protect me a whole bunch, but it does protect me a little bit. And I don't want no oil on my floor. And I'm trying to keep this shop really, really clean. Okay, we got that done. We got our cooler lines loose, our vacuum line loose. Our linkage is already loose over here. This was our electric passing gear wire here that goes up to the gas pedal or up to the carburetor. When you put it to the floor, it sends power to your passing gear. We won't be using that. We'll be tying that back because this TV cable now in the 4L60E will be the passing gear cable, and it'll control your pressure going up and down with your tranny. So, looks like we got a few bell housing bolts, and this thing is coming down. Get our block out of the way. Stretched out where I want it. I got cooler line plugs over there. I'll just stick that on for now. There we go. Something's better than nothing. Somebody put a drain plug in the back of this 400 pan, it looks like. Almost there. Now we always tie our transmissions on too. You never know when something crazy can happen, and we've been saved by these straps more than once. So we always take and put a strap around them. We drop transfer cases on these too, so we have to hook them up or strap them on. Actually, we use a couple straps on transfer cases depending on what it is. Then I never leave my tail hanging, because that right there can get caught anywhere, and you don't want that to get caught nowhere. Always wrap the remaining over it. Okay. Now the headbands would work really good, but with the camera you can't use them. I mean, there's just too much distortion. Looks like he's put a new dipstick in here for the 400 tranny. Got all of our bell housing bolts. Okay. We can use the same bell housing bolts on the 4L60E. Shouldn't be any problem there. Loosen this just a little bit. I like to try to get my dipstick tube out of there. Let's see how this one looks. It might, they're always terrible. That's why I'm waiting on the new dipstick tube to get here for the 4L60 before I even putting it in, because the dipstick tube has to be inside the tranny when you stick it up in there. It makes it so much easier. Okay, there we go. That'll make it a lot easier there. Get the dipstick out of the tranny. Okay. Make sure cooler lines are out of the way. Dipstick tube's free. Vacuum line's going to stay up there with the motor. We might have to tilt this out a little bit. I'm not for sure because of the headers. But we'll let her down really slow. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. There you go. So we can't use this one. We actually got one coming that's got a flip top on it. Real nice one. So we're going to probably tilt it this way, I think. Probably not the best way to tilt it, but it looks like it's going to be easier that way. Of course, I didn't realize he didn't drain the tranny on this, so we're going to have to plug that hole a little bit over here where that dipstick tube is. It's probably going to try to pour out. Stick a rag up in there real quick and see if that stops it. So I've got to twist it this way probably to get it out of there, it looks like. I want to scratch up the beautiful headers, but sometimes it's really hard to. Not. Okay. We shouldn't have to do anything to this area. I'm just going to look at the flywheel teeth, make sure he didn't miss anything there. Going to have to look at the flywheel and make sure that we have two different, looks like this one here is close to the edge, this one here is farther away. So this flywheel here will accept multiple patterns, like for your 4L60, that's a little bit smaller bolt pattern. So, well, the 400's out. It's just a 6-bolt pump, but you never know what's behind the pump. It could have a lug in there for a bolt here. It could have a lug in there for a bolt here. I've showed you guys where I took the pump out. The lug was there, but it wasn't tapped. So you can drill them and tap them, drill the pump out, put your 8 bolts in there. Especially with an ultra bell, you have to do that. So, but anyway, looks pretty good. And it's going to look even better when we get done with it. So, you guys, don't forget to subscribe. Push the notification bell. Stay tuned, because we definitely got a lot more to come. Thank you. Have a great day.